Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Tuesday, January 28th. We're here. We're going to be breaking it down. We got a nice 4-game slate to go over on both sites, Draftkings and FanDuel. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, at FlatTyler83 on both your DFS sites and Twitter. Now, let's dig in. But before we do, come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all, one low price, or you could just jump in to the $239.99 yearly price, which comes down to only $20 a month. It is a giant savings and by far the best deal in the industry. This will give you all of next season's football. It will give you the rest of this NBA season, the first half of next NBA season, and MLB. It's a great time to do that yearly. Let's dig in. Let's get into it, and let's go. All right. As always, position by position, the slate today is starting at 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 East Coast time. And we just have 2 rounds of games. There's 2 4:30 games and 2 7 o'clock games. And now let's dig in. I do have to warn you that we are still waiting for some news. There's like 4 teams that are on back-to-back, and we don't have all the news. There is news expected from Utah. There is news expected from Milwaukee. News expected from Portland. Because we're not really sure DeAndre Ayton's status. He is questionable. And then the Hawks, Dyson Daniels, we don't know what's going on with him. He sat out yesterday. Trae Young has a hamstring issue, also sat out yesterday. So those are big question marks. Cam Whitmore sat out with an illness yesterday. He could potentially be out. And Jalen Green, I do expect to play. However, he did get a little banged up yesterday, so we have to wait up for that news as well. As far as Lakers, we're waiting on Rui Hachimura. And the 76ers, we're waiting on Yabusele. Now, if Yabu's out, they only got Bana as a big man because there's also no Caleb Martin. So Bana would likely have to play big minutes and, becomes a value there. All right, let's get into it. Position by position, starting with point guard, 35% owned. We got Fred VanVleet, 6,800. He is in a very good matchup, and he is very cheap now. The only issue I have with him is the fact that with Jabari Smith out, he takes a bigger hit, whereas helps Jalen Green a little bit more. Now, if Jalen Green is at all limited today, it does make Fred VanVleet a lot more interesting. I'm fine getting some Fred VanVleet. He is probably one of my higher owned, or will be one of my higher owned point guards, but I don't absolutely love him, and I'm fine getting off if you want to pivot somewhere else here. Next, we got Tyrese Maxey, 10K, 31% owned. I'd be huge on Maxey today. I'm probably going to have a lot. And how it breaks down is really the 76ers just have nobody to take usage away. Paul George is out. Embiid is out. Drummond is out. Caleb Martin is out. All this just means that Tyrese Maxey is in a good spot to go off. And Lakers aren't, exceptional versus point guard or anything. So I like the spot. And then if we dig into some pivots here, Anthony Simons, 6,400. Now his minutes are a little bit down lately just because he, the whole team is healthy. So there is some worry there, but if he's hot, they're going to play and they're going to need somebody to get hot versus this Bucks team to be able to stay in the game. It is only a 5.5 spread. The Bucks are on a back-to-back, but I don't absolutely love the spot, but we only have 4 games to choose from, and he's grading out decently for me and probably a little bit low owned. Next, we got Dyson Daniels. Not sure if he's playing. We're also not sure if Trae Young is playing yet, but it's a decent spot. I don't mind taking some shot on Daniels if he's going low owned. I think overall, I think this slate is going to be a little bit of a low scoring one. Now, anything can happen with the news to totally change that, but that's what, I'm looking at right now. Then we got Gary Payton Jr. This is a bit of an ugly one. In his starts, he's averaging 1.1 fantasy point per minute this year. The issue is his starts, he gets 15, 18 minutes. He's averaging 15 minutes per game in his starts. Got 15 yesterday, 11, 13, 12, 18, 27. It's not likely that he's going to get a big boost in minutes here. However, I think there is at least a path. We still are waiting for the injury report for the Warriors, but we know Draymond is out. We know Kuminga is out, so they are hurting for forwards, and Gary Payton can slide into that role, and he has been effective when he is on the court. The Warriors have probably the most annoying rotation in all of basketball this year. They have they're playing 11, 12 guys on a night, and it's like everybody gets 20 minutes, except for if your name is Wiggins or Curry right now. So Wiggins and Curry are the only ones on that team you can actually count on minutes. Payton, if he gets 16 minutes, he starts to grade out decently for me, at least on this baddest slate. Now, the issue with Gary Payton is a ceiling is hard to come by. Him getting 6X is kind of like a ceiling play. The problem, right now we got no or very little value. I think value will open up, so I could come off Gary Payton hard, but at this point, I'm a little interested in him. Or if there's any news that he's going to get extra minutes, then I would love him. All right, point guard on DraftKings. Lillard, Curry, Amen Thompson. Lillard, 8,700. I don't mind having some Lillard. He's gone off in 3 straight games. They're on back-to-back. I would expect him to play big-time minutes again, as he has the last 3 games. 41 minutes yesterday. 40 the game before that. 36 the game before that. Now, with it being a back-to-back, maybe he doesn't play 40, but I would expect 36, 37, and he's been balling lately, so I don't mind going to him a little bit. Steph Curry, 8,800. No Kuminga, no Green does negatively affect him. He's been a 1.24 on the season, but 1.16 over the last 5. I think a big reason for that 1.16 is no Green and no Kuminga. Those 2 guys take a bit of the defensive coverage away from him. While Green isn't a great offensive player by any means, he can at least pass the ball well and get Curry open and find Curry open. So it does help him. But all in all, if you want to go Curry, fine. I mean, anybody can get hot, and the Jazz are 27th versus point guard. So if somebody does really want to get hot, it is probably Steph Curry versus the Jazz in a great matchup. Amen Thompson, 8K. He hit the game winner yesterday. He's been going nuts. I am absolutely fine going here in a very good spot versus the Hawks. And if Green is out, it just gives him a big time boost there as well. And he's playing big time minutes. Caller 5,200 did start yesterday and play 28 minutes. There's at least a path there. I don't mind it. I just don't love it. I have no idea what Utah is going to do on a minute standpoint from game to game at this point. Starting over at shooting guard on FanDuel, we got Dylan Brooks, 33% owned. Brooks went absolutely nuts yesterday. He is 4,700. He has a high ceiling. He can hit 40 at 4,700, so that's very interesting. My only issue with him is that he is a very, very volatile player, and his most likely outcome is low 20s. And that's not going to get it done for you today. So while he is a high-owned player, I would rather get off in this spot just because of the variance that he has from game to game. I don't mind some Brooks. I'm going to have some because he is one of the value plays that could pay off, but I do think he's going a little bit over-owned on this slate. Ricky Council, 4,300. 76ers are really banged up. We have met 23 minutes. Somebody is going to come off the bench on this slate and have a game. He's one of the guys I'm interested in. However, I don't expect him to start. And if you look at what he's done when he has not started, there's only 3 games where he's really done much. Now, we have him at 23 minutes. I think that's probably about right, but I think there is a path to a little bit more, and that's what we're looking here, is just a path to a little bit more minutes, and he's at 0.87 fantasy point per minute coming off the bench. So I don't hate it. Don't mind going there a little bit. All right, Simons we covered. Vit. We got to get into Vit here. He was super high owned yesterday. Played 34 minutes. Didn't get there. I don't mind him in this spot. Again, we got to wait for injury situations to shake out here. But I am a little bit interested in Vit. He is kind of like a Dylan Brooks situation where, you know, he can hit 40 coming off or starting, playing 30, 32 minutes. But he's coming in a lower owned. So I don't mind him. Don't absolutely love him. But really, I don't love anybody on this slate. So Vit is one of the guys I'm interested in. Jalen Green, 7K versus the Hawks. Huge ceiling with Green. If we see nothing that he's totally good to go, he's in just an amazing spot versus the Hawks in a pace-up matchup where he can really put the ball in the bucket. I don't mind going there on a slate like this where there's not a ton of spots to go, and he could give you an outlier score. Gary Payton, Thompson, Davis, Eric Gordon, 4,400. I would expect Eric Gordon to slide back into the starting lineup. Low 20s is what I would expect from him in this spot. Maybe high teens, but all in all, I think he plays 30 minutes. He's going to be on the court enough versus the Lakers that he could be useful. He's at low ownership. I'm fine having a little bit of him. I'm not going to go super heavy, but he is one of the pivots I am interested in. Shooting guard, Moses Moody, 3,900, 25% owned. He's getting, 20 minutes, 22 minutes off the bench, and he's 0.84 fantasy point per minute guy. I see why people are going there. I don't love the spot, but hey, if he gets hot, maybe he runs into a couple extra minutes, and that could do it for you. I just don't like the ownership there on a guy that, likely only plays 20 minutes, maybe 22. Oubre, 6,200, 25% owned. He becomes a main usage guy with everybody out. He had 46 and 49 the last 2 games. I don't mind staying in the Flames and just going with him. Gordon, 4K, we covered. Small forward on FanDuel. Dylan Brooks, Andrew Wiggins, and Toumani Camara. Brooks, we covered. Wiggins, 6,600. Look, him and Curry are the only guys playing big-time minutes, so I get if you want to go there. It's versus the Utah Jazz. Obviously a good spot. I would expect big minutes from him. Again, just, they don't have many forwards at this point, and he can play both forward spots. So that's why we can kind of count on 33 minutes, and there is a path to more minutes for him, so I don't mind going there. Kamara has been just way better than expected over the last month or so, routinely getting into the 30s and showing high 30s or low 40s ceiling games. My only issue is with everybody healthy. His minutes are dropping down to, 32-ish minutes a game instead of 35 like he's been at. Now, he could run a little bit hot and get a couple extra minutes, and Milwaukee has not been good versus the small forward. They're 25th overall, so I'm interested in Kamara a little bit. Pivot-wise, Taurean Prince, 4K, 21% owned. We have him at 30 minutes. He has 37 and 32 minutes the last 2 games. AJ Green was out again. If he's out again today, there's, a clear path, 2 more minutes. So definitely interested in Prince again. Vit, we covered. Men Thompson, we covered. And then Tari Eason. All right. Cam Whitmore was out yesterday. It's a illness. If Whitmore is out, there's a clear path to more minutes, but he did play 25 minutes yesterday, 22 the game before. He is a guy that is a very high fantasy per minute guy, 1.17 fantasy points per minute. He has 40-point upside coming off the bench in limited minutes. I love Eason today. I'm going to have a ton of him, and he is probably my favorite low-owned pivot to push into lineups on this slate. I like Eason. I'm going to have a lot, and roll it over to DK on small forward. Justin Edwards, 3,800, 38% owned. I got to say there is probably a chance he starts today. There is no Caleb Williams. I wouldn't be surprised if he's at power forward and Yabu is at center. And you get a 3,800 guy starting on a slate like this, and he has shown some ceiling, makes me very interested. Now, even if he doesn't start, he's been playing solid minutes off the bench. Played 29 minutes last game off the bench, 26, 28, 33. I'm going to probably have a lot of Justin Edwards because there's just really not that much value on this slate, and he's one of the places I can go. Wiggins, we covered. Council, I do like Edwards over Council, just throwing that out there. I don't mind a little Council, though. Moody, Thompson, we covered all of them, so we'll get over to power forward on FanDuel. We got Giannis, Wiggins, and Edwards. Edwards is slightly more expensive on FanDuel, but I'm still going there. Giannis, I mean, he put up 71 last night. He has another good matchup. I don't mind going there. I just feel like right now, with limited value, it might be hard to get up to Giannis. However, putting up a real point score of like 60 today could just be needed. You know, there's not a whole lot of guys that can really go nuts today. Giannis is one of them. So you got to consider him just, you know, for that alone. And pivot-wise, Yabu, 6K. 6K is getting a little pricey for him. He is probable, so he's likely to play, and he's going to play center versus the Lakers, and really their only kind of big man. So I'm fine going there. It's not the best spot in the world for him, but at 6K, if he can get me mid-high 30s, I'm in, and he's been fairly consistent at that. AD, 11.4K. I like AD over Giannis in this spot. Giannis is probably going to play, or AD is probably going to play. We're still waiting for that injury report, but he wasn't on the injury report yesterday, come midday. So I think AD is probably playing, and if he does, he's just in a great spot to dominate, and he's been a beast lately. Look at all these perfect lineups he's been in lately, and I think he is just more likely to be able to hit 60 than Giannis. However, the ability to hit, say, 80 plus, you know, falls to Giannis there. But I really don't see either of them going for 80 plus on this slate. Power forward on DraftKings, Edwards, Giannis, Wiggins, Council, covered them all. We're going to center. We got Onyeka Okongwu, 7,400. Dude got pricey quick, but hey, he's playing solid minutes, been playing very well. It's just a very tough spot versus the Rockets. This is not one that I like, Okongwu, so I'm probably getting off him a little bit, but can't deny how good he's been. Sengun, 8,700. I love me some Sengun in this spot versus the Hawks, who just aren't very good. And the only worry here is he just, you know, has one of his games where he plays 28 minutes, 29 minutes instead of 32 on a back-to-back, which totally could happen with it being a back-to-back. AD we covered. That's my favorite pivot. And on to center for DraftKings. We got Giannis. We got Okongwu. We got Steven Adams. If you think that Sengun is going to play less minutes because it's a back-to-back, then Adams does look interesting. He's been very solid point per minute, 1.22 fantasy point per minute, and playing, you know, 15 minutes regularly, but occasionally will get 17, 18, 19. And if Sengun is playing less, most likely it's Adams taking some from him. So I don't totally hate the Adams call. It is just a little bit of a shot in the dark there. And that'll do it for us today, guys. Hope you guys found it informative. We will be back tomorrow with another big slate. Good luck. Let's make some money. See you guys later. Peace.